I'm editor of the Georgia Street newspaper, and thanks for coming out to the Big City Forum on Democracy.
Follow the money. I think, in my opinion, we need stronger financing regulations, and I think that is one of the most important components of electoral reform. A lot of people, I don't think, realize that one of Jean Chrétien's legacies before he retired is he changed the federal financing regulations. And that is the model, I believe, of the type of financing regulations that we want. The province is in the middle, the city is at the rock. I want to talk a little bit about the parties versus independents, because the reality is you can't get elected here as an independent in Vancouver, okay? And the reason being, it goes back to the financing, okay? Because only you have to be part of a party to get access to the money. And likewise, with our current at-large system, it totally supports a party process. I also want to talk a lot about the right to vote. I believe it's got to be resident. However, I believe that there are a number of issues that are lend themselves to referendum. And I think in particular around the budgeting processes, either the capital budget or maybe some of the significant operating budget issues, I think could go to referendum. I think also some localized capital projects, like some of our, like for instance in the West End, the West End Community Center was built by a local referendum that happened around 1979. Likewise, the rebuilding of the West End streets happened by a referendum that was just for the West End area. And I think those types of things can bring real improvements to local community. I'd like to suggest there needs to be some funding and support for neighbourhood associations, and I look at the DIA model. I feel as someone who's acted in a neighbourhood association, we don't have the same power as the DIA, okay? And I don't want to trash the DIA because the DIAs perform an important role for the businesses, but often their needs are not aligned with the needs of residents, okay? And many of the things that we've been active with, in particular, trying to improve the neighborhoods for pedestrians, cyclists, and public transit, the DIA has resisted. You know, the classic example is the Burrard Bridge, which, you know, that project's been delayed 10 years because of DIA. And we actually need, I would say, an administrative assistant for every councillor, if not more, to help do research and to liaison with the public. And that is a real weakness in our system, is that the councillors don't have that type of support. To conclude, I'd like to say that when you look at the voting numbers, like what percentage of people vote in the various elections, the municipal voting gets the least level of participation. And it's the municipal level that impacts us the most. And it is so disappointing that the level of government that impacts us the most, the level of government that we should have access to, for some reason, people don't get engaged. And I think that our current processes that this is a result of our current processes. And I think through good electoral reform, we can get our voting